Coming up next on Access Framingham TV is Framingham Fan to Fan, where we discuss all things sports in Framingham and Metro West sometimes. Today we're going to talk semi-pro soccer with guests from the JUVE Professional Soccer Club. This is going to be exciting. Stay tuned. This is Framingham Fan to Fan on Access Framingham TV. Hi, I'm Dave Hornfischer, a Framingham sports fan, and I'm pleased to host this interview show whose purpose is to highlight those who are involved in Framingham sports at all levels. We hope through this show to increase awareness and ideally fan support of these fun sporting events, and also to help use sports to achieve Access Framingham TV's goal of building community. Today I'm pleased to welcome two representatives from the JUVE Professional Soccer Club. They're the leading semi-pro soccer organization in Metro West, and I think they're going to make a really interesting discussion. And so, guys, it's great to welcome you. I've got Carlos Monteiro, one of the star players, and Frilei, the Chief Executive Officer of the program. So, guys, let's start out by telling me, why don't you tell me a little bit about JUVE Pro?
So thank you for having us here. It's a really pleasure to be here. JUVE Pro Soccer started in 2005 with a different name, Juventus. It was a bunch of friends who came up from Brazil. They start playing together and they start going to different leagues and playing together. And then in 2016, we decided to step it up. Me and the other friend, Fagner Ribeiro, we are the owner and co-owner, decided to step it up and make a semi-pro. And we're starting with the UPSL, United Premier Soccer League, and it's been fantastic.
The United Professional Soccer League, that's one of the several major divisions of professional soccer in the U.S., right?
Yes.
Starts with MLS at the top, which would be the New England Revolutions League.
Exactly. We have MLS, we have USL, and this year we don't have the third division, but in 2019 we will have USL D3, and we might have NPSL Pro and NISA. And the fourth tie we have UPSL, that's our league, NPSL, and PDL.
So who are the other teams in this is the UPSL you call it?
Yes.
Who are the other teams in there besides the JUVE club?
Well, we have Safira FC from Somerville. We have Mass United from Boston. We have Boston Siege. We have International FC from New Hampshire. We have New Hampshire Raptors. He used to play there. Now he transferred to JUVE Pro.
Okay.
And we have Lincoln from Rhode Island. It's a really great team.
So there's about 10 or 11 teams then
Yes.
in the league, and you play
Yeah.
and you play a spring and a fall schedule.
Yeah, UPSL is one of the, I think it's the only league who play the full year nationwide, and fall and spring and fall. And the other leagues only spring, summer, and they have a great program, and we're very happy to be on this organization.
So your soccer club then is you have how many players on the team?
For the spring we had 27 players.
Oh, really? Okay.
Right now we reduced that for 5-7, and we start to build again. Now we are around 25 to 30
Okay,
players.
well, they all won't play in every game then, but
Yes, sometimes it's a lot of games,
right,
and two different competition right now. So sometimes we're gonna play on Wednesday, and we have to play on Saturday. They might get hurt, or they might get tired. As a semi-pro, these players have a full-time job, and there's a lot of things involved.
Sure. Yes,
so
right. So you get together and you practice together and you do some work. I think we've got a couple images coming up of you guys riding bicycles and exercising and working out together. It's
this is one of our partners called Compete Strain. They take care of the physical, the mental.
Is this it here?
Yes,
yeah.
yes. They take care about the agility and everything. So they used to train there on Tuesdays, and we get a field practice on Thursdays.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a great program. So they can get in the field, run, and not get tired.
Right.
So like resist.
Okay.
So we're very, very happy with them.
So let's get Carlos into the discussion here. You're one of the players on the team. How did you happen to end up with the JUVE team? You mentioned before that you were with a New Hampshire team already, and you've been playing, you told me before, since you were 4 years old. So just walk me through the life of of how you got from 4 to where you are, and some of the different places that soccer balls have kicked your feet.
I was born and raised in Portugal. Basically, I started at home. It came from my dad.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, growing up in a house, all you see is soccer. In the country, all you play is soccer. You sleep, soccer, wake up playing. So, growing up and developing that passion and everything for it, and from there, just growing up out there, I ended up coming to the U.S. when I was 15 years old. I ended up in Boston, in Dorchester, Upham's Corner. That's where I grew up at. I went to Madison Park High School in Roxbury. Played my 4 years there, graduated from there in 2004. I went to Providence College, the Friars, which is the Big East, as everybody pretty much knows from the basketball. Played there 4 years, graduated in 2008. I had the luck of a lot of sports guys who love to play pro at some point. I didn't say I would play on a high level, but I played on a good level. Like I played in Iceland for 3 years. I was in England for 2 years, and I was in Portugal for 2 more years. So I enjoyed it, those short years of playing pro.
Right.
Coming up back to the U.S. in 2012, played for Boston Victory on the USL PDL, which is the U23. Played the Worcester Hydro on the same season, on the same division, where it was in Worcester, located, and then a year later, I played for Great Law United FC, which was the NPSL. I played 2 years there. Ended up playing with Boston, with the Rhode Island Reds in Rhode Island, which also in the NPSL. And then I ended up with New Hampshire Rovers. And this fall, I played a couple of games with the New Hampshire Rapids. But I ended up with circumstances of life made me not keep playing. Mm-hmm. So now I'm back at it, and Juventus and Fagner, basically one of the owners of the team, been a few years, for me to play for him. So this year, I was like,
they recruited you as a free agent, so to speak.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's and so I think that's that's an incredible background. And Frilei, is his background fairly typical of the players that you have on your team for the most part?
But we have he's a very experienced.
I know, I could see.
He play a lot of, not all the players have the same background. And he's on 32?
33, actually.
33 and in really good shape. Look.
Yeah.
It's really good. No, it's not all the players like this guy.
So what is the typical background? There's probably a range, but just give me a couple other examples of.
Well, we have players who play on the same league, but on the other team, we have some players who came from NPSL. We have some players that was in a college, and some players who never play in American League, and we recruit them. And
the players are largely from Brazil, or?
Right now, it's kind of some of Brazil, some of Cape Verde, some is American. It's kind of mixed up.
Some have played in college, some have played in high school, some have played in international leagues, and so the point I'm trying to get at, I guess, and I think you got there, is this is really high level soccer that we're talking about here. And if you were to play a college team, you would probably beat them.
Yeah. Well,
you played in college. You've got a sense of what that's like, right?
Yeah, true.
We have a really good teams on college, and the CAA is really good. But we play at a high level.
Yes, right.
If we play against some great team from NCAA or college, we're not going to make that bad.
Right. Okay. So this is my point. Is this is good soccer?
We might get
and if I'm a soccer fan out there in Framingham and I want to see some good soccer, I want to go see you guys play. So where would I go find one of your? You told me your new season's going to start sometime in September, and if I wanted to go see JUVE, I don't go to Bowditch Field.
Unfortunately, no, we're not going to Bowditch Field, but I hope in a future near we can play on Bowditch Field, because our sponsors, some of our players, they are from Framingham. Framingham is a great community, immigrant community. It's a fantastic atmosphere for soccer. And unfortunately, we're not about it.
Right.
But I hope soon.
But this year you're going to be playing your games in
Ashland High School.
We're at the Ashland High School.
Yeah.
And is there a certain night of the week you typically play your games? Or?
We used to play on Saturdays, 7 o'clock p.m.
Mm-hmm. You don't know yet when your first games are going to be?
Probably will be September 15.
Okay. And does do you know if the Metro West News gives you guys any coverage? So if I wanted to find out about when your games were, where would I find out? You probably have a website.
Yeah, JUVEProSoccer.com.
JUVEPROSOCCER.com.
Yes.
JUVEProSoccer.com.
Yeah, you can find everything about us.
All right, well, okay, so now I know what I'm going to see and all that. Let's just talk a little bit about your team. You're called the McGee. You have a shirt here?
Sure.
And I think we have a picture coming up here of your team. And so one of the ways that you actually pay for this is through a variety of sponsors. And McGee, you said, is an insurance company, and
McGee's a dealer.
A deal.
Toyota dealer.
A Toyota deal. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's your team there with your shirts
great.
on, and
this was in Brockton as a friendly game against Brockton United FC. We draw 1-1. It was a festival game. This is a new face of the team, new players.
So you got 11 there. So
yeah, and 11 on the como é que eu falo no banco.
And 11 on the bench. Basically,
On
it was
the
a
bench.
scrimmage.
and this is Bresley, who runs one of the youth leagues in Framingham. He was on my show.
He's
recently.
He's a great guy. He's
Yes.
our goalkeeper coach.
Mm-hmm.
He's phenomenal. He's doing such a great job with the kids in Framingham.
Yes. His
And
BESA program. I had them
Yes.
on previously.
Framingham needs to say thank you for this guy because he's doing a
And these are a
wonderful.
couple more. These came from Bresley's personal photographs. That's why he's in them. But he was going to be with us today, but he had a last-minute issue we had to deal with. But he's your goalie coach, and and your role as the CFO in the organization. You're not a player?
No, I'm not a player because I got to take care of out of the field. Like sponsors, we have Costa Insurance from Framingham. They from Framingham. McGee Toyota from Hanover. We have Onyx Marbury Granite from Framingham. We have Credit Up. They are from Framingham too. And we have Collision, EMF Collision.
Right, so it takes so this is sort of the major source of your funding then that keeps this going.
This guy's doing a great helping us because it's not easy to be a team like semi-pro and play in a league, a high league like this.
Right.
It's a lot of expenses, and they really help us with this because it's a lot of money.
Yeah, those are very attractive uniforms that you've got. And
This is our home jersey.
and you have to pay field rentals and
Yes.
and you said so far the tickets to the game aren't very expensive.
No,
They're free
we're gonna make free for
for a while.
fall
Yeah.
season.
Okay,
We need
just to build some interest.
Yes, we need to show the people the great quality of soccer. Great guys like Carlos here with a great background, and we need they to go there, watch, and see how soccer is good.
Well, Framingham has over 1,000 youth playing in the Framingham United Soccer League. Have you had any connection with them? I mean, you ought to get all 1,000 kids out there someday. And
Yeah, we have a partnership with Bresley.
right, his
one
a
of
smaller club. But
Yeah, one of our games, they bring the kids, they play before the semi-pros, and
Right.
we do a lot of interesting
Yeah, a couple of their
things.
kids on his team I talked with last week, they look like they're almost ready to play with you guys. These kids are-
That's great.
Yeah,
That'd be nice.
they're quick and
That's
fast.
great.
Well, just talk a little bit about you've been in a bunch of different teams, Carlos. What was probably the best team you were on? How do you define?
The best team for me is, I would say, basically the experience that I got from all of them.
Oh, yeah, right.
Because it's the best time I had, I could say probably in Iceland, because it was my first experience as on a different level.
I don't think of Iceland. Well, I guess Iceland, I wouldn't have thought of that as a soccer.
Yeah.
But they were in the World Cup this year, and they did quite well, as I
They
remember.
were, and on the European Championship also they did very well, which they beat England, so they went further than everybody expected. In the World Cup, they did pretty okay, even though they didn't pass the group stage, but they did pretty.
They have big crowds for soccer games in Iceland?
Yes. Iceland is a small country, it's basically an island. And soccer is huge. From the kids, from girls and boys, is huge. Being around there, and the atmosphere is way different. The language, from the times, you're playing at 8 o'clock at night, the sunlight is still up. For example, was one of the amazing experiences I had. Being in Iceland was, to me, was something that I always wanted to experience since I was a kid. So being there, the great experience with Hauka, which is HK, that's their name, and it was very exciting. It was different. That's what I see for kids now to follow that step, and soccer is getting bigger. So I remember 2000 when I came, I was 15 years old. Soccer was not that big.
Soccer is a growing sport in the U.S. It's certainly not the level that it is internationally. Why do you think that is? I mean, there's so many young people playing soccer, but why is it that, I mean, the New England Revolutionaries play a fairly high level of soccer, and they probably draw, what, 15 to 20,000 for a game, maybe?
Correct.
Yeah. Do you have a connection, or do you have a sense as to kind of how that's changing, or?
Revolution right now, per season, they used to have between 15 to 20,000 people per game. That's a really good. That's a really.
There's been some talk of building even a separate stadium for them in Boston.
Yeah, but they don't want to let them to build this.
Right. Where?
They didn't say yes. Where? But they in the beginning of 2018 they say at the end they're gonna say where they want to build this.
Okay. So you think that may happen? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's good.
Yeah.
It's good for sports. It's good for soccer.
Yeah. Well, the MLS I think has increased interest in the U.S. in soccer.
Big time.
But then the U.S. didn't even have a team in the World Cup, right? So how did that happen? I have a more embarrassing question I'm going to ask next, but the U.S. wasn't even in it, and of course neither was Italy. So and you think of Italy as one of the big soccer powers.
Yes.
So United States was not in the World Cup, but United States is one of the countries they send more people for the World Cup.
The fans.
More fans.
Yeah.
So United States not in the World Cup is a disaster for the soccer in this country. It's a totally disaster. A lot of people blame Federation, the USS Soccer. There's a lot of things going on. Some people blame MLS, and I don't know if we can find
who to blame.
Who's to blame? I think
it's a bigger issue.
It's
I
a
understand
big.
But then the embarrassing question is, how come Brazil didn't get to the finals? That has to have been a harsh issue.
You just got to answer you that.
Yeah. I told you I was going to ask tough questions.
They was really like they trust too much, I think, and they got a really bad situation in that game against Belgium. Yeah. When they wake up, it was too late. Because they never thought they're gonna start in the back of the on the game, and then was 1-0, 2-0, and then the team start well.
Let's play now.
Yeah, let's play now. Yeah, it's a little late.
But it was late.
Okay.
So. But I'm confident in Tite. Tite is doing a great job.
I mean, women's soccer in the U.S. has become very big. The U.S. women's team is a real international powerhouse.
Huge.
They're great.
Yeah, they're great. 2012 when I came back, when I was helping with one of the teams, I was working in Easton with the youths, and I noticed that the girls the ladies pretty much pay more attention. They're more interested in the boys in it, because usually one of the main issues is most of the boys, they always like to one or two sports, sometimes even three, and that doesn't let you focus on only one sport. So you like bouncing around. You're going to the lacrosse game, you're going to your football game, to your baseball game, soccer game. So you're bouncing from one game to another, and maybe one day you have like 3 different sports, like 3 games. That's the main issue. The women's U.S. national team, they have 5 World Cups.
Interesting. Yes.
It's very amazing what they do, and they're so good at what they do.
Is there semi-pro women's soccer that's comparable to what you guys are doing?
We plan to have our women's team soon.
Okay, all right.
But right here, it's totally different, like Brazil, Cape Verde, and other countries. And they have everything, like great fields, great schools, great coaches. They have everything. Some places like Brazil, women's, they don't have anything. Or they have only on a higher level. I'm talking about the kids on the school.
Right.
In the United States, every high school have a great place to train. This makes totally different. When they go to World Cup, you just see the background, see where they coming from, and you're gonna say, wow. In Brazil, when you see the background of the women's, you say, how they did that? They great, because they survive. You know what I'm saying? It's too hard. And CBF is the confederation. They need to do something about it, and they doing, but it's kind of slow. They should do more about the women's soccer team. A lot of women's playing here in the United States, like Marta, is the great of all time.
She's from Brazil.
She's from Brazil, and she's playing Orlando Pride.
Right.
She's great, and a lot of others, women's.
Well, let's just talk a little more about your team here. As I said before, our time runs fast here all of a sudden. The Juve, the name of the Juve, I know I read that Juventus or something like that is the famous Italian.
It's our cousin.
It's your cousin. Okay.
Well, we have a Juventus in our home from Brazil. We are from a little town. We have a Juventus there.
So it's a traditional name in soccer.
Yes.
So yeah.
And then when people come into the United States, they say, well, let's keep this. Let's keep this name. Let's keep this team. And then we start, like after years, and we decide to go pro, and we say, well, let's create our own identity. And then we start with JUVE Pro.
Okay. So then a couple of the other events that you've got coming up, you mentioned there's a U.S. Open Cup that you were telling me about before that's going to happen in September, is it?
September is qualifiers. We will play on 22nd or 23rd. This is the first round, U.S. Open Cup qualifiers. So this is the big event. If we're doing good on Open Cup, we can play against MLS team.
Oh,
you
really?
never know.
Yeah.
Or USL team.
So those matches will be held all around Massachusetts?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have right now 8 teams in Massachusetts who's going to play for qualifiers.
Okay.
And from the 8 teams, is going to be only 1 team for the first round.
That'll be for the big boys.
And then after
Okay.
the first round, if you win the first and second, on third round, we can play against the second division team. And fourth round, you can play against a first division team.
And
MLS.
it depends on the luck of the draw whether any of these games will be held in Ashland or but you guys play in Worcester and other places and nearby, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, and then you also mentioned that you're having a festival of some sorts that you're playing in Lowell, was it? You said?
Ludlow.
Ludlow. Okay.
So we have our friends from Western Pioneers. They are a great team. They have a great facility, and every year they have a festa party, like it's a traditional.
Yeah, it's a Portuguese feast, basically. They do it every year. It's a Ludlow Mass. And West Mass Pioneer has been around for years.
They from PD outside.
And that's going to be held on September 2nd if we get
Yes.
this show on the air by then. So
Sunday. So, and we expecting to see a lot of people there. Will be a great event. Show up and give us your thought, what you've seen. Be there and be our fan, and it will be great. So,
Okay. So then let's just touch. We're kind of running out of time here, but just one last thing about getting this connected to so you could have some of your games at least at Bowditch. Would there be a fee if you wanted to play there? Is that a piece of the problem? Or?
no, there's no problem at all with us. They just say the Bowditch was not for our organization.
Because you don't have enough people from Framingham on the team, maybe, or you're not.
I don't think this is the problem, because we told them we can have the tryouts and bring people from Framingham. We can rent a place and have our building there. With everything, so I don't think this is.
So this is all new, and we got the new city government in place, and maybe this is a good time to have you guys here to be beginning to make your case and
maybe next spring.
I mean, it sounds like you're really you really got a really high level soccer operation here, and there's a lot of people in Framingham that are going to want to see.
Our sponsors is from Framingham.
You got sponsors in Framingham, and you probably have more even if you were here. So
probably like 6 of them.
That's the McGee team, and you guys are great representatives, and you certainly impressed me that if I was going to go watch a soccer game, I'd rather do this than schlep all the way down to Gillette Stadium and do that. And I could probably
most likely.
Most likely,
I would say most likely.
And most likely. Is there anything I should have asked you that I hadn't about your team here?
We talk about pretty much
everything. Went around of everything pretty much.
And
basics.
I hope we can go good on an Open Cup and make Massachusetts proud. And fall season is starting. We hope to do well and represent Massachusetts on national.
And you'll be playing about 9 or 10 games in your fall season.
Yes.
And again, they're going to be on Sunday afternoons.
Saturday
Afternoon. Saturday evening.
7 o'clock.
Saturday at 7. See, if I got it wrong, I got to make sure my viewers know that. Saturday at 7, be looking for this, and we'll try and get some coverage of the Metro West News to even say when your game's
And let me say thank you for Ashland that they opened the door for us to play there.
And your games are at Ashland High School, and your website, if somebody wants to find out the schedule and more about this, is go to JUVE, J-U-V-E, pro soccer, all one word, .com. And,
on social media,
and you're on Facebook too.
Twitter and Instagram.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, appreciate it.
For coming on. This was very interesting. And stay tuned for more on Framingham Fan to Fan. We're covering all kinds of sports in Framingham and Metro West. And if you like sports, you're going to like Framingham Fan to Fan. Good night.